Hello everybody, this is Dr. Deb again. All right, I am America's Family Therapist, and I am America's Family member who's bringing everybody to the table to talk about racism. Today, I want to speak specifically about what my theory is about the reason, what my theory is that we don't talk about racism. I've heard it said more than once, and it wasn't until after maybe about 5 or 6 years, five or 6 years teaching diversity and watching my white students' response to racism, to our discussion about racism, that I finally connected what their angst was. But admittedly, I was listening to, my sister sent me a link to TED Talk to listen to Dr. Brene Brown talk about shame and vulnerability. And as soon as I heard her talk, and then one thing she said in her video was that we missed an opportunity, but she didn't go into it. And I was kind of hoping, but that was what her talk was about. But if I were doing the talk, that's what I would dwell on. And when she talked about missing an opportunity, I guess she was talking about around race and stuff like that, but she didn't really go into what the opportunity was. But then I got back into my classroom, and I watched my students look down, look away, squirm, frown, whisper to each other, my white students, and then of course black students, they was all excited because they get to vent. But watching the white students, I finally said, that's what's wrong. White guilt is what I was thinking. But I'm sorry, forgive me. But they hadn't done nothing. And that's what they kept saying. We haven't done anything. We weren't there. We didn't have anything to do with it. So why do we feel this way? Why are we being made to feel this way? What they were feeling was shame. And let me tell you what brought that home more to me. In my class, we talk about every kind of ism I could think of. And so we was talking about discrimination as it relates to religion, or exclusion as it relates to religion. And I found this video called The Longest Hatred. And it's about how the Christians created this idea, these lies, these concepts, these stereotypes about Jews. And it talks about the Crusaders. I mean, just all these gory things that people did in the name of God. And when I finished watching that video, I said to my class that I was ashamed to be even identified with a group that would do that to someone. And that's when it came full circle for me. That's what was going on with my students. They were saying, we feel bad, we feel ashamed, we cannot believe that people who look like us, who we identify with, did this to somebody. And so, and some of them get to it. Some of them finally get to the place where they get that's what they're feeling. And before class is over, they get to a different place. But then some don't. And I can imagine why, because if you're thinking you're all right, you're thinking you're a liberal white person and that you have a lot of black friends and you maybe even dated some black people, or they live next door or grew up or had a nanny, I don't know. You're thinking you're okay. And then you come to this class that says, no, you're not okay. Because I spent a lot of time telling all of us that we're not okay. We can't be okay because of this awful thing. Okay. So then that's the white students. And the black students, of course, they're feeling shame because all of their lives, it's been either something about their hair, something about their skin tone, something about the way they talk, the fact that they even have slaves in their ancestry, that their families were treated this way, and then that's their shame. So you get the shame of being ancestors of these victims and these victimizers, and now you have the makings of just a war, I guess, and that's what happened. Just a war. But then my thing in the class is, then how do we come to grips with what our shame is? How do we just acknowledge, shit, yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. My people were that. And because of that, I have stuff. And I have things. And I have privilege. And I have money. And I have access that is unfair. And then, yes, my people were slaves. Yes, my people were were raped and brutalized and demoralized and dehumanized, and it was against the law for them to get educated. And so, yes, I have uneducated people in my family, and I have people in my family that still do stuff that doesn't make sense to me because of what was done to them. They don't rise above it. And I want to get beyond all of this. We all want to get beyond all of this. We all want to get beyond all of this, but we cannot do it, will not do it, unless somebody like me make you think about it, make you talk about it. And that's what they did for a grade. Now, my thing here now is, how do I get you to talk about it when there's no grade involved, there's no money involved, there's nothing in it for you but peace of mind, but getting over, letting go of the guilt and the shame, the horrible shame that's associated with what you have inherited, because we all have. But we cannot, family, we cannot move beyond this shame, beyond this grief, until we have the right kind of honest conversations about what we actually do think about ourselves and what we think about others. And more importantly, what we think about our country, that will not do something about this. So, I'm going to keep at you and at us about this need for us to talk about and come to grips with the awful shame that's associated with this idea, this made-up concept that we are 2 different kinds of people, or 4 different kinds of people, or whatever, 5 different kinds, whatever it is. It's a lie, and it has destroyed our families, and we cannot keep letting it happen. We cannot let it continue to happen, or else we will be in the next century still talking about, we need to talk about it. And Lord knows, who knows, we don't know how this is going to shape up, but we all know it can't go on like this. This has been On the Real. This has been Dr. Deborah. Woo! I'll see you next time.